Let's go to part 3. And in this third tutorial of alerting, we're going to talk about grouping. Now, when we talk about grouping in alerting, that helps us in reducing notifications, or you can say notification noise, by combining related alert instances into a single concise notification. For example, let's talk about on call engineers. So, in case of on call engineers, if grouping is viable, that ensures that they focus on resolving incidents instead of sorting through a flood of notifications. So that means similar notifications will be grouped. That grouping obviously gonna done again on the basis of labels or using labels. And these labels reference those generated by alert instances or configured by the user. Notification policies also allow you to define how often notifications are sent for each group of instances. So what we're gonna learn in this part is one, how this grouping concept works. Two, creating a notification policy to help us in grouping. Third, defining alert rules for real world scenario. Like in the last part, we did it for analyzing the web traffic issues, web traffic scenarios. Fourth, receive and review grouped alert notifications. So four-step procedure that we're gonna handle in this particular tutorial. Again, same initial steps. Which is to run the entire Grafana stack. Done. Let's go to next. Now let's first understand how this grouping thing works and how we can configure them with the help of labels and timing options. So when we talk about labels, like in the previous section, we had two labels, which is one, the device desktop, second, the device mobile. So labels map the alert rule with the notification policy and define the grouping that we want to do. On the other hand, when we talk about timing options, they control when and how the notifications are sent. Let's say on one side there's a label matching. So let's say alert instances shall be grouped. Second is when the notification is sent to the contact point. So when the notification is sent to the contact point, that is controlled by timing options, and the grouping or defining the groups or performing the grouping shall be with the help of labels. On the basis of labels, we have the alert tools, and that will further help us in the grouping process. So certain labels or default labels which are automatically created by Grafana, for example, alert name or Grafana folder, like we can have example, I could set up some label alert name equal to high CPU usage, right? Or you can configure your own labels also. So in that case, you have to add it manually, like on the basis of severity or priority or whatever it is. So one is certain labels which are offered by Grafana. So those are default. So if those are solving your issues, then you can use those default options. If not, then you're always welcome to create your own. Second, query based labels, like which are returned by the data source query, like region based, service based, environment based. So labels can be on different factors. Like in the previous tutorial, the labels for the device desktop, device mobile. In a similar way, one we can have default, labels. Second, as a user, I can configure them. Third, based on query. Whenever I say query, that means it will be connected to your underlying data. On the other side, we have the timing options. So in timing options, there's a group fit, that is the time before sending the first notification. Second is group interval, time between notifications for a certain group. Third is repeat interval, that is time before resending notifications for an unchanged group. Now, whichever alerts will share the same label values, they shall be grouped together. So if their label values are same, those will be grouped, and based on the timing options, the frequency of notification shall be decided. Right? So that's how this entire stuff works. Let's take one example on this. Monitoring a distributed application. That's my underlying scenario. So I want to monitor metrics, let's say CPU usage, memory utilization, network latency across multiple regions. So let's say I could use labels like region, US West, US East. If multiple alert rules are triggered across the regions, they can result in notification floods. Like it means too many notifications to handle. Right. So that's why grouping is important. So how to manage grouping? To group the alert rule notifications, we need to first define labels, because those labels will help us in categorizing alerts or help us in the grouping process. So either it could be region, metric, or some instance-based labels. And that depends what you are trying to solve. What are you trying to solve? What is your underlying scenario? Then once you define the labels, then you talk about the notification policies. You configure the notification policies. So let's say I'm going to group alerts based on the query label region. So I have defined the label region, and based on that label region, I'm going to group my alerts. For example, wherever the region is US West, it's going to go to the West Coast team, or wherever the region is US East, it's going to go to the East Coast team. So that way, all the alerts related to region US West shall be grouped and sent to one particular team. Only thing is the timing option, because with the help of timing option, you want to control the frequency, like how much time the notifications should be sent. So group interval setting determines how often updates for the same alert group are sent. So default time is 5 minutes. So if you want to increase it or decrease it, you are always welcome, depending on your requirement. So again, let's set up the rules. The objective is to receive one consolidated notification per region. So I'm going to create a region-based scenario. And for the east region, the alert notifications for the East Coast team are not grouped. That is just to differentiate, to see how the grouping works. Let's go to Grafana. Let's go to again alerting and the notification policies, right? Again, new child policy. So last time my label was device. This time my label gonna be the region. So I'm gonna do region based scenario. And let's say US West. So all notifications related to US West shall be grouped. I can have a contact point. Again, we can let's let's create one contact point. Let's create a contact point. Webhook. Webhook. Test. Perfect. Save contact point. Let's go to notification policies. Child policy. Child policy region. US West. Contact point. Let's save a book. Right? And since I want this process to happen continuously, just gonna put this on continue matching subsequent sibling nodes. So the evaluation continues even after one or more label match, because there could be this could happen a couple of times. Then toggle override grouping. So I want to group. So let's click grouping. Right. Group by region. Group by region. Now this will consolidate alerts that share the same grouping label, which is the region, into a single notification. So all related to US West will be combined into one notification. So that will help in easier management and will not lead to the what we will not lead to something what we call as the alert fatigue. Then third is overwriting the journal timings, which will help us in defining the group fit. That is the wait time before sending the first notification for a new group of alerts. So default is normally 5. So we can choose 2 minutes so that we can have fast. I want fast demonstration. So I'm gonna put it to 2M. So 2M. So this is gonna control how often notifications are sent, and that will help us in minimizing the noise, the notification noise. Hmm. So this has to be in group interval, not the group wait, the group interval. That is the wait time before sending a notification about changes in the alert group. So whatever alert group we are into, after the first notification has been sent. So I'm gonna take group interval as 2 minutes. Then we can have save policy. So I can either use another policy region, and my second region is US East. Contact point webhook. Again, contour matching, override grouping, again region, then override channel timing. Again, let's say 2M. The group interval. Let's save. So both the policies have been created. One related to the region US West, and second related to the region US East. Now, each label within a notification policy must have a unique key. If the key is not unique, let's say there's one label key region, what we have created, and that have different values, US West and US East. So what will happen? The latest entry or the last entry is saved and the previous one is automatically discarded. So that's what's important, that each label must have a key, a unique key. So now we can go to the alert rules. Let's go to alert rules. And we're going to take a new alert rule. For example, let's say I want to get into high CPU usage. So I'm going to create a new alert rule. So let's say my objective is to look into CPU usage. So let's call it as high CPU usage, multi-region. Name should always be something that connects with your underlying objective. Again, we can have the test data selection, CSV content, same options what I did previously, test data. Scenario, let's say CSV content, right? So let's say this is my scenario. So region, first column region, second CPU usage, third service, fourth instance. Instance means which server. Right? US West, certain entries for US East. That's what I have defined. Then alert condition, right? So I'm gonna take 75 as the threshold value, above which I want the trigger to take place. Review alert rule. I can see wherever the benchmark is not met, the status turns to normal by the firing, right? Again, you can create evaluation folder, new folder. Let's call it as multi-region alerts. And evaluation behavior. So the evaluation group can have the multi-region group. Let's call it as the multi-region group. Evaluation interval, let's say 1 minute. How much time I want the alert to be evaluated. Right. Pending period, let's set to 0. We want the alert to be triggered immediately. Then let's go to notification policy and use notification policy. Let's preview routing. That shows me, you can see all the US West one side, all the US East notifications on the other side. Let's save the rule and exit. So the earlier rule was based on high CPU usage. Similarly, I'm creating a rule which is based on uh, high memory usage. So let's go to say duplicate. Let's change the name. Now this is high memory usage. Again, let's test data. Let's replace the content here, which is the high memory usage. Let's preview electron. Again, let's benchmark. We want to check. So again, let it be 75, same what we created for the previous case. Now again, let's, so everything else is already selected because we have duplicated the things. We don't need to add much. You can simply save rule and exit. Okay, so high CPU usage, high memory usage. Just check once. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Now let's do what we wanted to, which is receiving grouped alert notifications. Now the idea is when the configured alert detects CPU or memory usage higher than 75% across multiple regions, it will evaluate the metric every minute. If the condition persists, notifications will be grouped together with a group wait of 30 seconds before the first alert is sent, and then follow-up notifications at interval of 2 minutes. US East instances, follow-up notifications shall be sent interval of 5 minutes. If the condition continues for an extended period, a repeat interval of 4 hours ensures that the alert is only recent if the issue persists. So what you're gonna do, our notification policy should route three notifications. One, grouped based on CPU and memory usage from the US West region, and two separate notifications with alert instances from the US East region. But this is how I want to do the entire setup. So based on my setup, like what kind of setup I want to create, accordingly, my notification policy should be created. Like this is an example of group notification. So you can see CPU usage and memory usage. So they have been grouped together. And this is for US West. This is for US East. This is the US East. This is US East. So this is detail of memory alert instances, high memory usage. This is high CPU usage. Both are related to US East. For West, I have one, which is CPU and memory in one single. Right, so you can see grouping, and this is single notifications. For US East, I'm getting two different scenarios. One related to high memory usage, other related to high CPU usage. For US West, one single. That's what we have created. Right. So this is how the things work. I can see webhook. So US East, US West, the receiver webhook, status firing, labels, high CPU usage, multi-region, US East, and this one for US West, and US West. This is high memory usage. This is high CPU. This is US East high CPU. So that's how grouping has been done. So that's how we can do grouping. Thank you for watching this video.